And we are back, and we just finished watching 1987's Predator, rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 47 minutes. This is currently streaming on Hulu, which is also the home of the new Predator movie, Prey, which if you haven't seen, absolutely go watch. But this is the beginning of the franchise with the young Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dutch, Carl Weathers as Dillon, and a bunch of other characters. 80s action regulars, I guess, like Bill Duke, who plays Mac.
I would say he was an action. He's appeared in movies where he's generally killed.
True. Well, I guess Jesse Ventura's kind of more, and that other guy, the guy who played Billy, I feel like I've seen him in a ton of other action stuff.
No, maybe
not a ton, but
no, not. I mean, probably the only other one aside from Bill Duke as a regular actor was the guy who played Poncho.
Yes.
And of course Shane Black is more known for his writing.
Yeah.
But as far as Jesse Ventura was pretty much only a minor character in some Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. And
he didn't do more stuff? Like B stuff? I could swear he was in more stuff.
If he did, it's stuff that I've never heard of.
Okay. All right. Just because we didn't see it.
It could be there. I mean, I don't think he did as many movies as Roddy Piper.
Yes.
But,
we should watch They Live with the kids.
Yeah, They Live's a good one, too.
I love that. All right. According to IMDb, the tagline is, "If it bleeds, we can kill it," which is my favorite line. I was so happy that it landed in Prey.
Yeah.
This is the story of a group of special ops led by Dutch, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, who go to, some Central American or South American jungle?
Yeah, they never specify a country,
but it's
or
definitely Spanish.
It's definitely in South America somewhere, deep jungle. There's guerrilla fighters. They've apparently kidnapped some special person, and the government needs them, Dutch and his crew, to extract them because they're the best. And Carl Weathers is the guy who recommended them for the job, and he goes along the mission. They meet. They have that iconic, ridiculous hand grab shake, whatever the hell it is,
which is now a popular meme. Yes,
with muscles bulging, and we go on from there.
Yeah. I'm gonna go around the table and get impressions. I'm gonna start with you. What did you think? It's been a while since I've sat through from start to finish, but it still holds up as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's still a solid action movie. You can see why it started a franchise.
Yes.
It was, it's Schwarzenegger. Back then, Schwarzenegger
was the king.
He was the king of that stuff.
Yeah. 1987, he's still in his dominion.
Yeah. I mean, it had decent effects. I mean, they're a bit dated now.
Yeah.
If you compare it to the effects that you see in the new Predator movie, it's leagues beyond that.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
Now you've got computers and whatnot filling in all the gaps. Yeah, like I said, a good start to a franchise. Or back then, I don't even think people really thought of any of these movies as franchise worthy. Everything was pretty much going to be one and done.
Yeah, unless it did really well, in which case then.
Yeah,
like the Beverly Hills, but those were more comedy, right?
Yeah, but generally, those are comedies. But generally, franchises, if a sequel came out, it was really just crappy.
Usually,
it was usually just terrible.
Except for the original Star Wars trilogy, which was decent. Yeah. I liked Empire Strikes Back more than Star Wars.
Yeah, those are probably back then. That was probably the only stuff that was actually working.
Yeah.
I mean, Aliens was a great sequel,
oh my God.
Then everything after that just
shit the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although the sequel to that, it's funny because we should probably get that on the docket, but the sequel to that is more action, whereas the first one was more dramatic horror.
Yeah.
But still a worthy companion piece and sequel to the original. Did you have a favorite character?
Oh, Dutch.
The Governor.
How could you not like
Dutch. Arnold
Schwarzenegger? He pins a guy to a wall with a knife, stick around. He's got the one-liners.
Yeah. And the delivery.
Yeah, him scream, and he's got that iconic scream of pain of his. Where it's like, ah.
Yeah. Well, everything he says is just so dramatic because of the accent. I mean, that guy is. I mean, not to go off on a tangent, but that guy is the American dream, right? He came here with nothing.
Yeah.
Built himself up.
Literally and figuratively.
Literally and figuratively built himself up, and just.
yeah, he made the best of every situation.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Yeah. I mean, from what I've read, like he was like the king of the supplements, and that's how originally he made all his money, and then bought a bunch of real estate in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
And then went on to conquer Hollywood. Did you have a favorite scene in this?
A favorite scene? Not really. I mean, it's all good. Carl Weathers' death was pretty spectacular.
Yes.
We can give away spoilers. This film is
Almost 40 years old.
yeah.
Jesus.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carl Weathers dies.
As do most of them.
Pretty much everybody dies.
except for Dutch and the girl.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff. I enjoyed. For some reason, me and my friends would always laugh about Bill Duke running through the jungle, going, "Gonna have me some fun. Gonna have me some fun."
Well, he lost his mind, right? After Jesse Ventura gets taken out, he just lost his mind.
Looking back on, or like having watched it now again with fresh eyes, I'm like, they really it was strange how much character development they gave Mac
as opposed
in regards to his relationship with Blaine. It was just like, all right, these guys really liked each other. Yeah.
So no favorite scenes?
No, I mean, it's the whole thing is entertaining, and the only thing you really remember over time is just the lines. I got time to bleed. Get to the chopper.
Yeah.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Just to touch on something you said, having seen it with fresh eyes, do you think that if this was released today, do you think it would do well?
If they make it as good as Prey, yeah.
What do you mean if they make it as good as... No, just this movie.
If this movie was released today with the effects that Prey has.
Oh, okay.
And the
updated.
quality, because it's filmmaking, especially in these action films, is different now.
Yeah, absolutely.
The films now, they really care about the way things look and they try and make things look beautiful. There was a lot of establishing shots in Prey that were gorgeous just to look at. They look like beautifully shot, excellent film work, great cinematography. They could have had a lot of that in Predator, but they just didn't care. It's just like you have all these lush jungle environments. That could have been beautifully shot, and it's not really. It's just like, okay, there's a jungle. It's green.
Well, I think the surroundings is secondary. I think the core of the story is the action sequences, which there are a ton of here.
But the jungle plays a huge part.
No, it does, obviously, but
if you were asking if this were to come out now, if they would have said, okay, here's the film work we have for the jungle, they would have been like, you have to shoot all this over again. This is just so poorly done.
Yeah.
Like I can barely differentiate the leaves and the trees and all that. It's just a muddled mess. Whereas now you have these jungle. If they film something where it takes place in a jungle, there's like dramatic lighting. The colors are super vibrant.
Sure.
The shadows falling on people's faces. Everything is just, it's like the filmmaker, even though they're making an action movie, which is all bubblegum, shut off your brain type stuff, there's money poured into just the aesthetic, the way it looks, especially in a high quality thing. Like if you look at Prey, like I just said,
it's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is gorgeous to look at. The sets, everything. Even when they're tied to that tree and you see like the ash, like what the hell happened there?
Right.
You don't know, but it's a cool environment.
Yeah.
It's like, and the lighting and everything works well and it's perfect.
Question for you. Speaking of aesthetics, I know what my answer is going to be, but what is your preference as far as aesthetics? Predator 1987 or Predator 2022?
You mean the way it looked?
Yeah.
I just told you, Prey looks a million times better.
I know, but looking at the two Predators, who do you think looks better?
You mean the actual beast?
Yeah.
The actual alien?
Yeah.
The new one?
Yeah, right?
I'm not going to knock the one that...
No, I mean, for 1987, that was, really well done.
Seriously, when you first saw that thing, you were like, wow.
Wow, that's so cool.
That thing it's gigantic. It's
menacing looking.
It's menacing looking. It's got that crazy, weird alien face.
And the cannon on its
shoulder. The dreadlocks, all of that stuff.
And it's huge. Like, there's that scene where they're, like, going mano a mano.
Yeah, I mean,
Arnold
Schwarzenegger is not
short
a tiny guy. And this thing was like he looked like he was 2 feet taller than him.
Yeah.
So, but you could just see like that was a guy in a rubber suit.
Right.
And you could tell the arms and the hands and all that you could tell that it's got that like pudginess that comes with, I'm a guy in a rubber suit. I'm dying in here.
Yeah.
But the new one, it just looks like a living organic being.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And we found out that he's
But in 87
secretly a basketball player. So.
Oh, I think the other guy was a basketball player.
Oh,
too.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, deep dive on
Either that or he was tall enough to be one.
Yeah.
But it's night and day. You know? And just the design of the armor, the way everything fit on his body, the skull helmet as opposed to the one that's in the original. Yeah. Yeah, it's the design work is way better. And I
think that also ties into what you said, that more care is given to.
Yeah, plus the design of the Predator, it was actually like the second design.
Which Predator? 87?
87.
Okay.
Yeah, the original one was supposed to have like this long sort of giraffe-like neck with like a little tiny head on top. And like if you see the original behind the scenes images, you see Jean-Claude Van Damme, who was the original
Predator
guy, running around in the suit. And his face is sticking out of the neck, and he just has this big long thing on top of his head with this little tiny weird head on top. It looks kind of ridiculous.
Interesting. I'm going to go to the children. Olive G, what did you think of this film?
I thought it was good.
Yeah? Did you like this one more than Prey?
No, I definitely like Prey way more better.
Oh, okay.
I like Prey more.
Okay, no, fair enough. I also think I would like the other one more. Although this was a good first movie, and in that time in 1987 I was hella entertained. Did you have a favorite character, Olive G?
No.
Did you have a favorite scene?
Not
really. How about you, Gigi? What'd you think of the film?
It was all right.
It was all right. Did you like Prey more?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Did you have a favorite character in this?
No.
Not really.
I don't care about any of them.
All right. Did you have a favorite scene?
Nah.
I'm going to say, I mean, nostalgia-wise, I still adore this movie. I think it brings back a lot of good memories. It still holds up. The story moves quickly. Mm-hmm. It's fun. It's when you think of action movies, this is what you think of. Or at least I do, right? Just nonstop.
Lots of guns, lots of explosions,
lots of people dying.
Yeah.
I like how it builds up in the beginning. You're really not clear on what's going on. You get little glimpses of the Predator's point of view, which is kind of fun. Yeah. And then when the reveal happens, it's like, oh my God, what is that?
Yeah. Looking back on it now, I wish they hadn't shown the spaceship and the pod coming off the spaceship and going into the atmosphere like right in the beginning. I think it would have been better if you went in thinking it was just some sort of
commando
thing where
jungle.
they're being hunted by some other type of military thing, and then you find out later that it's
funny because
alien. I think that would have been a nice
I agree.
Twist.
But you know what's funny about that? Having watched it in the past, for some reason, I don't know if it's like smoke and mirrors and stuff. Like I remember seeing that, and then it just sort of like went into the ether.
You don't really remember the spaceship in the beginning of
right.
Of
and then
Predator.
When all this other weird stuff starts happening, it's like, okay, what's going on? And then when the reveal happens, it's like, oh, now all of that makes sense. Yeah. So it's kind of funny. I agree with you, but I also feel like, I don't know, maybe audiences back then didn't.
You know what? I don't think they needed it. I think that was some dumbass producer who was just like, I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Throw an alien spaceship there in the beginning to make it more clear for the rubes.
Well, I don't even know if it was that. I mean, I think maybe whoever wrote the script was like trying to give you an idea of what's going to happen, but then it's sort of like, not that it goes over your head. It's almost like you forget about it because so much story happens before the Predator is even a thing in the storyline.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at it now as an adult. When I was a little kid, it didn't register.
It didn't register for me either.
When you're a little kid, you don't really make these connections or like remember these plot points. But now that as an adult, I'm like, I really wish they would have left that. Mm-hmm. I wish they would have left that off so this way I could like be surprised.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have been surprised by this.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's a 40-year-old movie.
I mean, you can say the same thing about Prey. You really don't know what's happening. I mean, you see the thing in the sky.
You do,
But
yeah,
it's
exactly.
still-
Like exactly. In Prey, they were more subtle about it.
Yes, they were definitely more
I mean,
subtle
there,
about
there
it.
was a scene where they actually show a spaceship,
Right, but it's still like.
but by
what-
then you're already into the story,
Right, right.
and you already have seen that this thing is walking around and it's invisible.
Yeah.
But also you have the hindsight of you're familiar with Predator.
Right, right, right.
So in Prey, it's not that big a deal. But like I'm just talking about if I was older seeing this movie in 1987 and I went to the movie theater, I just think it would have been way cooler to have the reveal happen organically through the story where they find out with us that they are being hunted by something that's beyond human.
Right. Well, I agree with you, but I think, like you even mentioned before, I don't think a lot of care or thought was put into these kind of films. I think action movies were all about
They
the
were-
most bang for your buck.
Yeah, it was
right?
like, here's $30 million. Let's hope
Make
that we
things
make
blow up.
$100 million.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Or not
exactly.
even. It was probably like, here's $10 million. Here's hoping we make $30 million.
Right, exactly,
we're
which would have
talking
been
about $80.
Yeah, yeah. Gigi, you said you like Prey better. Were you more invested in Naru's character than Dutch's character?
Yeah.
Why do you think? Is it because she's a girl? Was it because I don't know. Why did you find Naru's story more interesting than Dutch's?
Well, the whole thing, she wanted to like prove herself with that thing, right?
Right,
I guess I like that more about her because this guy, he was already like the best apparently.
Oh, okay. Okay, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
You do get more invested into Naru's character because exactly what G said.
yeah, yeah.
She's trying to prove herself, and you
Right.
want and you like her, and
Right.
you want her to prove herself. I like Dutch for different reasons. He's just the cool action hero,
cool.
but he's sort of like ready made. He's
Right.
ready to go, and
And his
I don't-
arms
I don't-
are like inhuman. I mean, like it's so funny
Yeah.
because I mean, okay, not to get off topic, but and I mean, I've seen the Pump and Iron movie, but that's got to be somewhat steroid driven.
you know.
That's gotta be.
I'm not gonna go on record as saying that. I'm not gonna get sued by anybody. But
Oh, please don't sue us.
yeah, please, we love you, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh my God, yeah. I went to see all your movies in the
Yeah.
theater, even the bad ones.
But who the hell? I mean, who the hell? That is.
It's
Let's just
inhuman.
say it's not the
It's-
way a human really is supposed to look. Like even a healthy human is not supposed to look like that.
I mean-
Like, or have arms like that.
I mean, and you know, it's funny you brought up the thing where the two of them kind of like clasp hands and their biceps are like just take
They're
up
having
like
their
the
little,
majority
like,
of the screen.
macho stud off. You know?
Yeah,
It's like,
but it's so funny because it's like Carl Weathers wasn't a little guy.
no.
Whoa, he's got like a big bicep, whatever.
Forcep.
Oh my God. A big bicep. I'm tired. He has like this huge bicep but then when you see Arnold's arm, it's like, are you
It
kidding
dwarfs
me?
it. Yeah.
Dwarfs. It's
Yeah.
like
you could put two Carl Weathers arms inside of an Arnold Schwarzenegger. arm.
exactly, and it's like the bulge there was like insane. It was
a
like a
cantaloupe.
person's head.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
as
he could
big
have
as a person's
He should have
head.
drawn a little face on.
That would have been amazing. Amazing. So I agree with you. I think that if this movie came out now with like present day effects, it would have done well. I think.
Yeah, I think everybody, and I bet if it came out now, they wouldn't have made the reveal like right at the beginning.
Yeah.
The effects would have been way more. And like another thing, looking back on old action movies and looking at like the action in today, like the fighting is so much more advanced now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when that thing was beating up Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Yeah.
when we were kids, it was just like, oh.
Yeah.
But now you're looking at it, and like I'm comparing it even to when Tabe or Naru were fighting
Yeah.
the Predator and Prey,
Yeah.
and they're like jumping at it and stabbing it and
Yeah.
like diving under its punches and,
Yeah.
and blade swipes.
Yeah.
And
There's
it's
definitely
just
more
way
care.
more dynamic. Like choreography is so amazing now,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
opposed to the way it used to be.
Absolutely. Well, I think that movie too. I mean, you don't see Billy fighting the Predator, but it's obviously supposed
Yeah,
to be
and-
mano a mano. And at the end, Dutch fights the Predator kind of hand to hand. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some kind of booby traps that he sets, but for the most part, it's hand-to-hand combat, right? They're not relying on their weaponry.
Well, it's him getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
It's not like as though he's laying a blow on this thing.
No.
It is just him getting swatted, like literally swatted like a bug across the jungle until he gets the upper hand through by landing in the trap pit.
Right. So to that point, I agree with you. Yes, absolutely. It's funny. We talk about like action movies, and this is kind of like what I wanted to get at. The idea of, so this is 1987. This did very well. It was successful, right? This is while Schwarzenegger was a big action hero and celebrity. But I agree with you. I think there's more care in action sequences now, and we talk about violence as art. Right. We talk about like when you see like a movie like Ip Man or even The Raid, where the fight choreography is it's mesmerizing. It's magical because it's
it's frenetic. It's just, it looks cool as hell. Like the dodges, the movements around each other. It just looks, it really pulls you in.
Right.
And the fact that they add that, like they just make everything look so visceral and like bloody and all of that stuff together, and they combine it. We've reached like this pinnacle of like, this is amazing.
Right. And
it's and if it's done right, I mean, I'm sure there's CG thrown in there, but if it's really done right, you don't even see that. And a lot of times it's really just these guys being just amazing at what they do.
Right.
Just the body, the way they control their bodies to do this, and I'm sure they're getting hurt real bad.
Sure.
But
it looks so cool.
It looks great, and the way they work together with the cinematographer and the director to get these like really dynamic, amazing shots. And I'm not talking about like the super frenetic, apoplectic cutting and zooms that just don't make any sense. Like that was like
that was a thing for a while.
That was like late 90s, early 2000s when like it was like, oh, we're trying to work the camera with the choreography.
Yeah, you don't need to do that.
And a lot of times it wasn't hitting.
No.
But now I think that like a lot of these guys that do this, they've really gotten it. And I think it's funny. I think a lot of that came from just the prevalence of everybody having a little film studio in their pocket now.
Yeah.
And like YouTube and like stunt artists and all these people coming together to make like these little things where it's just like, you know what? I saw this 10-minute video on YouTube of these two guys doing a fight scene.
Yeah.
It was better than anything I ever saw in the movies. Yeah. And like now these guys are like being called by the studios and they're just like,
right.
That thing you did on YouTube, could you do that over here? We have a lot of money and we have these two amazing actors.
Well, you have fight choreographers now. That's actually a thing. I mean, I mean, it's not a show anymore, but we liked Into the Badlands, where there was, especially in that first season. I didn't get to watch it in the subsequent seasons because they changed the nights, but
even with that, the fight choreography was good and frenetic, but you could see that there was like a lot of wire work and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like just seriously the Raid, especially the Raid 2 foot shimmy scene.
Oh, I love that.
Oh my God. And I don't think there's any wires.
No.
It's just two guys
beating the crap out of each other
that look like I'm sure there was a couple of hits that actually occurred, but really those guys were like amazing. Just completely amazing.
Yeah.
And you see that sort of like bleeding over into more mainstream movies and big budget movies, and it just looks great. And like Predator, and all the old '80s action movies, they're always going to have like an amazing place in my heart, at least.
Sure.
But when you look back at them, they just don't have that level of polish. You know, we all owe those films a lot because without them, we wouldn't have what we have now.
Sure.
Action movie lovers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
definitely ramped up.
It's just gotten so much more
And
amazing.
I think to your point too, I think we also have to thank Asian cinema.
Oh God,
the interest in Asian cinema, because they've been doing that. I mean, we grew up with like the double feature Shaw Brothers kind of thing, and so this is not foreign to us, but for younger audiences that didn't have the benefit of the double feature on Fox on Saturdays, it's kind of nice that that stuff got picked up, like you said, by others and then just brought into the mainstream. I mean, I'm with you. Like, Predator 1987 will always have a special place in my heart because I remember the joy of going to the cinema to go to see an Arnold Schwarzenegger picture, because you could always bank on it being like action heavy,
you're gonna have
kind of funny lines, charismatic lead actor. So it all worked. And again, sort of like what you said, they're trailblazers because they set the stage for the stuff that we see now. But I think a lot is owed to interest in Asian cinema that always did all of this stuff. And it's different, right? Because it's like 87 Predator is more bang. It's like, it's in the genre of like a Michael Bay movie. It's all bang, bang.
Yeah, guns and explosions and
right.
stuff. Not really much in the way of like hand-to-hand combat.
Right. And then you see newer stuff like Prey. You know, I was even thinking about like Atomic Blonde and stuff like that, where like the fights are just, it's brutal. It looks like it hurts.
Looks like it hurts.
Yeah. And there's some it feels authentic, right? Obviously, these things are staged, but it still looks cool, right?
Yeah, they're definitely showing you, like, the people on the receiving end, you could see, like, that would really hurt. Like,
Yeah.
like hitting the edge of a concrete step or something like that,
Yeah,
or their back bending against a railing.
Something, yeah.
It's just nuts now.
Yeah. Where did Olive G go?
The bathroom, of course.
Of course. Should we get numbers? I'll start with you, Gigi. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this film?
It was alright, so I'll give it like a 6.
A 6. What would you give it?
I'd give it a 7.
A 7. A 7. I gave Prey a 10 because I don't feel like that had any notes to be given. I think it was a perfect film. This, as much as I love it, obviously in hindsight and with like the experience of seeing other better executed films, I guess it kind of diminishes a little, but not too much. I think I would give this movie for the solid. I mean, it was a cool story, right? And it moved well, even though it's a movie that's almost 40 years old. My God. All the characters are likable. The action sequences are decent enough. I'm going to give this an 8, I think. What about you, Olive G? 1 to 10. What are you going to give this movie?
Probably like 7.
A 7. So 2 7s, an 8, and a 6. If you want to watch this with kids, maybe 10 and up.
Yeah, I mean, there's
There's
some language in it in the beginning.
Language.
Some off-color jokes.
Yes.
Some derogatory slang.
Some guy says a slur.
Some guy says a slur. Let's be honest. They're fictional characters.
Yeah.
So.
The action sequences there's some. I mean, nothing felt gratuitous, but there is like the skinned people.
Yeah,
there's
there's like skinned corpses.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna traumatize
you don't see
anybody.
anybody getting skinned.
No.
There's some like stuff on the ground that you can't identify that as apparently a human being.
Yeah, and there's a big shooting or shootout sequence at the beginning of the film that a lot of people die, but it's not really gratuitous.
A lot of explosions.
A lot of
people flying through the air. People on fire.
Yeah, stuff like that. So I don't think under 10.
Yeah, I would say this. I'm sure when it came out, it was probably rated R, but this is
it is rated R.
Yeah, this is probably more of a PG-13 movie now.
Probably. No, I think it would still be. I mean, it's a pretty good chunk of action in this.
They don't really care about it. To me, it almost feels like PG-13 just means, there's a couple of curse words in it.
All right. I mean, do we have anything this level of action nowadays?
What do you mean?
Like, I mean, the first part of this film is very action heavy.
Yeah.
When they go to try to get the assets out of that camp.
Yeah, but like I said, it's just shooting and explosions. There's nobody's head exploding or arms being torn off.
True, but I think people are still sensitive to that.
Yeah, but I don't know. You see that sort of action in comedies now.
that kind of action and comedy.
Explosions.
I mean,
and
yeah.
people
I mean,
being
it's
shot,
sort of exaggerated, I guess. I don't know. I'm just trying to feel out, like, as a parent. I mean, we obviously watch a lot of stuff with the kids, but
compare this level of action to the level of action, like, in, say, that crazy growth hormone rage beast Rambo.
Yes, it's that
same. It's the
level.
same thing. It's shooting and explosions, but in Rambo, it is far more grisly.
Yes,
like
yes,
bodies are
agreed.
being torn to pieces in that. And this one, people are just falling on the ground,
right? Or just doing the exaggerated
dance of death and they fall on the floor. Yeah.
Okay,
there's a big difference between. I mean, they both have tons of violence.
Yeah.
But how they show the bodies is the real difference.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody is being like
Eviscerated.
torn apart by machine guns.
Yeah. That was just the thing I was just trying to clarify in case like somebody was like, oh, can I watch this with my kid? I think you can. I don't think it's like for little kids. Like if you have a 10-year-old, I think that age and up is kind of acceptable.
Yeah, for our 10-year-old, it's fine.
Yeah.
Some parents would probably not agree.
Not see this at all, which is also fair. I mean, we're not telling you how to parent, but yeah. I think if you want to go down memory lane, if you remember 1987, if you saw this film, it might be a nice little brush up to go check out Arnold and the gang going into the deep jungle of some
I bet if you saw a TV edit, you'd be completely fine with your kids seeing it.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm sure, like, if it was like on Freeform or something, it would be edited to otherwise.
Yeah, they would take out all the off-color jokes, and they probably wouldn't even show the skinned people. It would just be like a reaction shot, like, oh, what's that?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, but I mean, I don't think it's that bad. But then I don't know. I mean, proceed with caution, I guess, is what I'm saying here. Yeah. But I would say 10 and up. So that's it from us. If you want to check it out, it is currently streaming on Hulu. And check out Prey. Absolutely. Really good storytelling. Really great film. And a nice sequel to 1987 Predator. Rated R, 1 hour, 47 minutes. Currently playing on Hulu. Did I mention that this is directed by John McTiernan and written by John and Jim Thomas? Did McTiernan do anything else? He did. I feel
Isn't he the guy who did Die Hard?
Yes, that's right. Which came out in 1988. He made a ton of money. He did that back to back with this. Wow.
Yeah, I think that guy was doing all right there for a while.
Yeah, I mean, some of these other movies, I can be like, I don't know about that. The Hunt for Red October. That was a big movie, wasn't it?
I think it did well. It was the Russian submarine with a Scottish captain.
Scottish captain. Again, no care.
Yeah.
No care.
This is whatever.
Love it. All right, that's it from us, and we will bid you all
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
good night.